1. We've got a real treat for you. A 1967 Cadillac Coupe de Ville that's up for grabs on Craigslist. This beauty is a true survivor, with just 42,000 miles on the odometer and only 2 owners in its lifetime. Can you believe it? The second owner bought it way back in 1973 with just 30,000 miles and only put about 10,000 miles on it over the next 51 years. That's some serious dedication to preservation. Now, let's talk about the looks. The 67 Coupe de Ville is considered by many to be the most stunning and sought-after caddy of the 60s. And this triple black example is no exception. The interior is practically like new. And while the exterior has some patina and imperfections you'd expect from an original paint job that's nearly 6 decades old, it's still in good shape overall. Under the hood, you'll find a beefy 429 CI V8 engine that churns out an impressive 340 horsepower and 480 FTLBs of torque, all while sending power to the rear wheels through a smooth 3-speed automatic transmission. And despite its sizable stature, this Coupe de Ville weighs in at just 4,500 pounds, less than most modern full-size luxury sedans. But what really sets this car apart is the features. Remember, this is a 1967 model, but it's got tech that was unheard of at the time, like automatic climate control, an AM/FM stereo 4-speaker radio, automatic dimming headlights, sentinel lighting, power seats, and even a rear window defrost. The seller has given this classic the love it deserves too, with a rebuilt carburetor, updated electronic ignition, a restored original clock, and get this, they dropped about $2,000 to have the rare 4-speaker stereo system brought back to its former glory. Now, the asking price is $30,000, which might seem steep for a 57-year-old car. But when you consider the rarity, the condition, the low mileage, and the unique features, it starts to make sense. This isn't just any old classic. It's a piece of automotive history that's been cherished and preserved for generations. 2. We're diving into the world of classic American muscle with a 1966 Pontiac Grand Prix that's up for grabs on Craigslist. This beauty is dressed in a stunning barrier blue exterior, complemented by a parchment interior that's sure to turn heads wherever you go. Now let's address the elephant in the room, the odometer reading. Yes, it's showing 100,000 miles, but here's the thing. The seller mentions that the odometer has rolled over. So while we can't be certain of the exact mileage, it's safe to say this Grand Prix has seen its fair share of the open road. But don't let that deter you, because this car has been well maintained and is ready for its next adventure. The seller notes that the car is in good condition overall, and they've even gone the extra mile by installing new tires and brakes. Plus, those 8-lug Pontiac wheels add a touch of classic style that's sure to make this ride stand out from the crowd. Under the hood, you'll find a robust 389 4V engine that's mated to an automatic transmission, delivering a smooth and powerful driving experience. And with power steering, power brakes, and power windows, this Grand Prix offers all the creature comforts you'd expect from a top-of-the-line classic. The seller mentions that the car runs and drives great, which is a testament to the care and attention it's received over the years. And while there may be some minor imperfections that come with age, this Grand Prix is still a force to be reckoned with on the road. Now let's talk price. The seller is asking $10,150 for this classic beauty, which may seem like a hefty sum at first glance. However, when you consider the rarity, the condition, and the overall cool factor of this 1966 Grand Prix, it starts to look like a pretty solid investment. Plus, the seller is open to possible trades. So if you've got something interesting to offer, it's worth reaching out. In conclusion, if you're in the market for a classic American muscle car with plenty of style and character, this 1966 Pontiac Grand Prix is definitely worth checking out. 3. We've got a real gem for you, a beautifully restored 1955 Ford Fairlane that's looking for a new home. This classic ride has a bittersweet story behind it, as the seller's father sadly passed away right when the restoration was complete. But the result of all that hard work and dedication is a stunning piece of automotive history that's ready to hit the road once again. Under the hood, you'll find a brand new V8 3112 engine with less than 100 miles on it. That's right. This Fairlane has barely stretched its legs since the restoration, so you can be sure it's got plenty of life left in it. The seller has also gone the extra mile by installing new fuel and brake lines, as well as a new fuel cell, ensuring that this classic runs as smoothly and safely as possible. Now let's talk about the condition. The seller describes it as excellent, and based on the photos, we're inclined to agree. The red paint job is absolutely stunning, and the chrome accents really make this Fairlane pop. The seller also mentions that there's no rust to their knowledge, which is a huge plus for any classic car enthusiast. And if you want to see for yourself, the car is currently on a lift, so you can get a good look at the undercarriage and confirm its clean bill of health. Inside, the Fairlane looks just as impressive as the exterior. The upholstery appears to be in great shape, and the dashboard has that classic 50s style that's sure to turn heads. The only minor issue is that the AM radio doesn't work, but let's be honest, with a car this cool, you'll probably want to roll down the windows and listen to the sweet sound of that V8 engine anyway. Now, let's talk price. The seller is asking $13,000 for this beautifully restored Fairlane, which may seem like a lot at first glance. But when you consider the amount of work and love that's gone into this car, as well as its rarity and excellent condition, it starts to look like a pretty solid investment. Plus, with the sentimental value attached to this car, you know it's been cherished and well cared for throughout its life. In conclusion, if you're in the market for a classic American car with a ton of style and a great story behind it, this 1955 Ford Fairlane is definitely worth checking out. 4. We've got an absolute stunner for you, a 1957 Chevrolet Bel Air 4-door hardtop that's up for grabs on Craigslist. Now I know what you're thinking, a 4-door hardtop? That's right. This is an extremely rare find, and it's sure to turn heads wherever you go. Under the hood, you'll find a 283 cubic inch engine, topped with a 4-barrel Rochester carburetor, which is paired with a 3-speed manual transmission that's shifted right from the column. And let me tell you, there's nothing quite like the feeling of rowing through the gears in a classic car like this. Plus, with dual exhaust, this Bel Air has a soundtrack that's sure to make your heart race. Now let's talk about the condition. The seller describes it as excellent, and based on the photos, it's hard to argue with that assessment. The paint job was done over 20 years ago, but it's still in the original color and looks absolutely stunning. Sure, there may be a few flaws here and there, but that's to be expected with a car that's over 60 years old. The important thing is that the floor pans and trunk pan are completely rust-free, which is a testament to how well this car has been cared for over the years. One of the coolest things about this Bel Air is that it's still rocking all of its original components. From the factory generator and breather to the bumpers, windows, and chrome, this car is a true time capsule. Even the odometer is showing just 34,257 miles, which is incredibly low for a car of this age. But the cherry on top of this classic sundae is the wheels. The seller has outfitted this Bel Air with a new set of Corvette Rally wheels wrapped in BF Goodrich Radial TA tires, which give it an aggressive stance and plenty of grip. But if you prefer a more traditional look, the factory set of wheels with white wall tires and deluxe hubcaps are also included with the sale. Now let's talk price. The seller is asking $25,000 for this incredible piece of automotive history, which may seem like a lot at first glance. But when you consider the rarity of a 4-door hardtop, the excellent condition, and all of the original components, it starts to look like a pretty solid investment. Plus, the seller is willing to accept cryptocurrency and even offers delivery, so you've got plenty of options when it comes to making this beauty yours. 5. We've got a real treat for you, a 1974 Ford Thunderbird that's up for grabs on Craigslist. This classic beauty has just 39,000 original miles on the odometer, which is incredibly low for a car that's nearly 50 years old. And let me tell you, it's loaded with features that were cutting edge back in the day. First off, let's talk about the power accessories. This Thunderbird has power windows, power seats, a power antenna, and power door locks, which means you can cruise in comfort and style without ever having to break a sweat. And with a massive Ford 60 cubic inch motor under the hood, you'll have plenty of power to spare when you need to get up and go. Now, the seller does mention that the car is in good condition, which is a fair assessment based on the photos and the low mileage. However, it's important to note that this is still a 48-year-old car, so there may be some minor imperfections or signs of wear and tear. But the good news is that the seller has recently invested in some key maintenance items, including new brakes and ball joints about a month ago, as well as a new water pump and gas tank with a sending unit 2 months ago. This shows that the car has been well cared for and is ready for its next adventure. As for the exterior, this Thunderbird is finished in a striking yellow paint job that's sure to turn heads wherever you go. The color is a perfect match for the car's bold, muscular styling, and it really makes this classic stand out from the crowd. Now let's talk price. The seller is asking $12,000 or best offer for this beautiful Thunderbird, which may seem like a lot at first glance. However, when you consider the low mileage, the recent maintenance, and the overall condition of the car, it starts to look like a pretty solid deal. Plus, the seller is open to trades, so if you've got something interesting to offer, it's worth reaching out and seeing if you can make a deal. In conclusion, if you're in the market for a classic American luxury car with plenty of power, style, and features, this 1974 Ford Thunderbird is definitely worth checking out. It may not be perfect, but it's a well-maintained, low-mileage example of a beloved classic that's sure to turn heads and put a smile on your face every time you get behind the wheel. So, if you're ready to make this beauty yours, don't hesitate to reach out to the seller and see if you can work out a deal. Who knows, you might just end up cruising down the highway in one of the coolest cars on the road. 6. We've got a real gem for you, a 1978 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am that's looking for a new home. This classic muscle car is the stuff of legends, with its aggressive styling, powerful engine, and iconic status in American car culture. Under the hood, you'll find a beefy 400 cubic inch V8 engine that's sure to get your heart racing every time you turn the key. And with a 4-speed manual transmission, you'll have complete control over all that power, allowing you to truly experience the thrill of driving a classic muscle car. Now let's talk about the condition. The seller describes it as good, which is a fair assessment based on the photos. The black paint job looks clean and shiny, and the car appears to be in solid overall shape. However, it's important to note that the odometer has rolled over, so the actual mileage is unknown. This is common for cars of this age, but it's something to keep in mind when considering the price. Speaking of price, the seller is asking $23,000 for this Trans Am, which may seem steep at first glance. However, when you consider the iconic status of these cars, the desirable 400 engine and 4-speed manual combo, and the overall condition, it starts to look like a pretty fair deal. These Trans Ams have been steadily increasing in value over the years, and finding a good one is getting harder and harder. One thing to note is that the seller mentions the car is stored for the winter, which is a good sign that it's been well cared for and protected from the elements. However, it also means that you may not be able to take it for a spin right away, depending on when you reach out to the seller. Overall, if you're in the market for a classic American muscle car with plenty of power, style, and attitude, this 1978 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am is definitely worth checking out. It may not be perfect, but it's a solid example of an iconic car that's sure to turn heads and put a smile on your face every time you get behind the wheel. Plus, with the value of these cars continuing to rise, it could be a smart investment for the right buyer. 7. We've got an absolute stunner for you, a 1967 Cadillac DeVille that's being offered by Royal Pike Motors in Front Royal, Virginia. This classic beauty is the epitome of American luxury, and it's sure to turn heads wherever you go. First off, let's talk about the condition. The seller describes it as excellent, and based on the photos, it's hard to argue with that assessment. The white exterior is absolutely pristine, and it's perfectly complemented by the black interior. This color combination is one of the most sought after for these classic caddies, and it's easy to see why. Under the hood, you'll find a powerful 8-cylinder engine that's ready to propel this luxurious cruiser down the highway with ease. The seller mentions that the car is in perfect running condition, which is a testament to how well it's been maintained over the years. And with just 56,598 miles on the odometer, this DeVille has plenty of life left in it. One of the coolest things about this car is that everything is original. From the chrome bumpers to the intricate details on the interior, this DeVille is a true time capsule. Even the tires are brand new, which means you won't have to worry about replacing them anytime soon. Now, let's talk about the price. The seller is asking $22,000 for this gorgeous Cadillac, which may seem like a lot at first glance. However, when you consider the excellent condition, low mileage, and original components, it starts to look like a pretty solid investment. These classic DeVilles are becoming increasingly rare, and finding one in this condition is getting harder and harder. Plus, Royal Pike Motors is offering both prime and subprime lending options, which means you may be able to finance this beauty and make it yours even if your credit isn't perfect. And with their location just off I-66 in Front Royal, Virginia, it's easy to get to from just about anywhere in the Mid-Atlantic region. Overall, if you're in the market for a classic American luxury car that's sure to impress, this 1967 Cadillac DeVille is definitely worth checking out. With its stunning good looks, perfect running condition, and original components, this car is a true gem. And while the price may be a bit steep, the opportunity to own a piece of automotive history like this doesn't come around very often. 8. We've got a real treat for you. A 1965 Ford Mustang Coupe that's up for grabs on Craigslist. This classic pony car is the stuff of legends, and it's sure to get your heart racing from the moment you lay eyes on it. Under the hood, you'll find a 289 cubic inch V8 engine that's paired with a C4 automatic transmission, delivering smooth and reliable power to the rear wheels. And with a 4-barrel carburetor and dual exhaust, this Mustang has a soundtrack that's sure to turn heads wherever you go. But that's not all. This Mustang also comes equipped with some seriously cool features, like power steering and power disc brakes, which make it a breeze to drive and stop. And with a cowl induction hood and 17-inch torque thrust wheels, it's got a seriously aggressive stance that's sure to intimidate lesser cars on the road. Inside, you'll find a deluxe pony interior that's in great shape, with all the classic Mustang styling cues you know and love. And with just 50,000 miles on the odometer, this car has plenty of life left in it. Now, the seller does mention that the car has some scratches, which is to be expected for a vehicle that's over 50 years old. However, they also note that it's not a show car, which means you can enjoy driving it without worrying about every little imperfection. And the best part? There's no rust, which is a huge plus for any classic car. As for the price, the seller is asking $18,500 for this beautiful Mustang, which may seem like a lot at first glance. However, when you consider the rarity of these early Mustangs, the desirable options like power steering and disc brakes, and the overall condition of the car, it starts to look like a pretty solid deal. One thing to note is that the seller is not interested in trades, so you'll need to come with cash in hand if you want to make this Mustang yours. But trust me, once you get behind the wheel and feel the raw power of that 289 V8, you'll know it was worth every penny. 9. We've got a real gem for you. A 1977 Lincoln Town Car that's up for grabs on Craigslist. This luxurious land yacht is the epitome of 1970s American opulence, and it's sure to turn heads wherever you go. First off, let's talk about the mileage. This town car has just 45,058 original miles on the odometer, which is incredibly low for a car that's over 40 years old. That means it's been well cared for and preserved throughout its life, and it's got plenty of life left in it. Under the hood, you'll find a numbers-matching 460 cubic inch V8 engine that's paired with an automatic transmission. This massive power plant is the heart and soul of the town car, and it delivers smooth, effortless acceleration that's perfect for cruising down the highway in style. The exterior of this town car is finished in a stunning dove gray color, and the seller notes that it's mostly all original paint. That means it's got a patina that's impossible to replicate, and it's a testament to the quality of the materials and craftsmanship that went into building these cars. Inside, you'll find a plush red leather interior that's just as luxurious as the exterior. The seats are soft and comfortable, and they're power adjustable, so you can find the perfect position for those long road trips. The car also comes equipped with power steering, power brakes, and power windows, which were all cutting-edge features back in the day. Now, the seller does mention that the air conditioning is currently not functioning, which is a bit of a bummer. However, they also note that this car floats down the road like a land yacht, which is exactly what you want from a classic Lincoln. It's a great cruiser that's perfect for weekend getaways or just cruising around town in style. Overall, if you're in the market for a classic American luxury car that's sure to impress, this 1977 Lincoln Town Car is definitely worth checking out. It's got style, power, and presence in spades, and it's a true time capsule that's sure to transport you back to a bygone era of automotive excess. So if you're ready to make this land yacht yours, don't hesitate to reach out to the seller and schedule a test drive. Just be prepared to fall in love with the smooth ride, spacious interior, and timeless style of this incredible classic. 10. We've got an absolute stunner for you. A 1966 Chrysler Imperial that's being offered for sale by Sierra Classics and Imports. This luxurious convertible is the epitome of mid-60s American opulence, and it's sure to turn heads wherever you go. First off, let's talk about the condition. The seller describes it as excellent, which is a bold claim for a car that's over 50 years old. However, based on the photos, it's clear that this Imperial has been well maintained throughout its life. The paint looks shiny and smooth, the chrome is bright and clear, and the interior appears to be in great shape. Under the hood, you'll find a powerful 8-cylinder engine that's ready to propel this land yacht down the highway with ease. The seller doesn't specify which engine it is, but given the year and model, it's likely either a 440 or 413 cubic inch V8. Either way, you can expect smooth, effortless acceleration and a soundtrack that's sure to give you goosebumps. One of the coolest things about this Imperial is the low mileage. The odometer shows just 13,563 miles, which is incredibly low for a car of this age. Of course, it's possible that the odometer has rolled over, but even if it has, this car has clearly been driven sparingly throughout its life. Now, it's important to note that Sierra Classics and Imports is selling this car as is, with no warranties or guarantees. They're upfront about the fact that classic cars like this may have some imperfections, such as scratches, chips, tears, fading, dimples, cracks, dings, scuffs, leaks, drips, rough idle, wear spots, dents, rust, oxidation, corrosion, or tarnish. However, they also state that all information provided is deemed correct, including the mileage, year, accessories, options, VIN, performance, and condition. As for the price, Sierra Classics and Imports is asking $30,000 for this gorgeous Imperial convertible. While that may seem like a lot of money, it's actually pretty reasonable when you consider the rarity and desirability of these cars. Plus, with the excellent condition and low mileage, you're getting a lot of car for your money. Overall, if you're in the market for a classic American luxury car that's sure to impress, this 1966 Chrysler Imperial convertible is definitely worth checking out. 11. We've got a real treat for you. A 1974 Plymouth Satellite Sundance that's up for grabs on Craigslist. This rare classic is a true time capsule, and it's sure to turn heads wherever you go. First off, let's talk about the condition. The seller describes it as good, which is a fair assessment based on the photos. The original paint and interior are still intact, which is a testament to how well this car has been cared for over the years. Sure, there may be some minor imperfections here and there, but that's to be expected for a car that's nearly 50 years old. Under the hood, you'll find a rebuilt 360 cubic inch V8 engine that's ready to rumble. The seller doesn't provide many details about the rebuild, but they do mention that the car runs well, which is a good sign. And with rear-wheel drive and an automatic transmission, this Sundance is sure to be a blast to drive. One of the coolest things about this car is the original Sundance decals, which are still in place. These decals are what set the Sundance apart from other Plymouth Satellites of the era, and they're a rare find today. The seller also mentions that you could easily convert this car into a Roadrunner with a stripe kit, which is a cool option for those who want a more iconic Mopar muscle car. Now, it's worth noting that the odometer is broken, so the actual mileage is unknown. The seller lists it as 100,000 miles, but it's impossible to say for sure. This is something to keep in mind when considering the price and overall condition of the car. Speaking of price, the seller is asking $16,000 for this Sundance as-is, which includes a set of custom 18-inch tires and wheels. However, they're also offering it for $15,000 with a set of 15-inch rally wheels instead. This is a nice option for those who prefer a more classic look. Overall, if you're in the market for a rare and well-preserved Mopar muscle car, this 1974 Plymouth Satellite Sundance is definitely worth checking out. It may not be perfect, but it's a solid example of a car that's becoming increasingly hard to find. And with the rebuilt engine and original decals, it's got plenty of potential for those who want to take it to the next level. 12. We've got a real gem for you. A 1967 Ford Fairlane 500 convertible that's up for grabs on Craigslist. This mid-size muscle car is a true head-turner, and it's sure to put a smile on your face every time you get behind the wheel. First off, let's talk about the condition. The seller describes it as good, which is a fair assessment based on the information provided. The car has 91,000 miles on the odometer, which is relatively low for a vehicle of this age. However, it's important to keep in mind that this is still a 55-year-old car, so some wear and tear is to be expected. Under the hood, you'll find a 289 cubic inch V8 engine that's been upgraded with an Edelbrock carburetor and intake manifold. This combination should provide plenty of power and a nice, throaty exhaust note. The seller also mentions that the car has a new alternator, front brakes, air cleaner, and battery, which are all important maintenance items. One of the coolest features of this Fairlane is the convertible top. The seller includes a new top in the box, which is a great bonus. There's nothing quite like cruising down the road on a sunny day, with the top down and the wind in your hair. And with the classic red paint job, this car is sure to turn heads wherever you go. Now let's talk about the price. The seller is asking $13,000 for this Fairlane $500 convertible, which seems like a fair price considering the condition and upgrades. These cars are becoming increasingly rare, especially in convertible form, so finding one in good condition with some desirable upgrades is a real score. Of course, as with any classic car purchase, it's important to do your due diligence and inspect the car thoroughly before making a decision. The seller doesn't mention anything about rust or other potential issues, but it's always a good idea to get a professional inspection if possible. Overall, if you're in the market for a classic American muscle car with some cool upgrades and a convertible top, this 1967 Ford Fairlane 500 is definitely worth checking out. It may not be perfect, but it's a solid example of a car that's sure to provide plenty of smiles per mile. And with summer just around the corner, now is the perfect time to pick up a convertible and hit the open road. 13. We've got a real treat for you. A 1974 Plymouth Roadrunner R21P4 that's up for grabs on Craigslist. This classic muscle car is a true icon of the era, and it's sure to get your heart racing from the moment you lay eyes on it. Now, let's address the elephant in the room, the condition. The seller mentions that the car has new half-quarters installed and is currently in primer, which means it's not quite ready for the show field just yet. However, they also note that they're planning to finish the car in its original black color with a white interior, which would look absolutely stunning. And if you're not a fan of black, the seller is open to offers in case you want to change the color yourself. Under the hood, you'll find a 1971 440 cubic inch V8 engine that's sure to provide plenty of power and torque. However, the seller also includes the number-matching 400 engine, which is a nice bonus for those who value originality. The car also comes with an automatic transmission and bucket seats with a console, which are desirable options for many Mopar enthusiasts. The seller has also done some recent maintenance on the car, including new tires, brakes, a pitman arm, a rebuilt carburetor, and a tune-up. This shows that they've been taking good care of the car and getting it ready for its next owner. One of the coolest things about this Roadrunner is that it comes with the original fender tag, which is a valuable piece of documentation for any classic car. The seller also includes a new black stripe kit in the box, which would look great once the car is finished in its original color. As for the price, the seller is asking $18,000 US or best offer. While this may seem like a lot for a car that's not quite finished, it's actually a pretty fair price considering the rarity and desirability of these roadrunners. Plus, with the included 400 engine and recent maintenance, you're getting a lot of car for your money. Of course, as with any classic car purchase, it's important to do your due diligence and inspect the car thoroughly before making a decision. The seller encourages interested buyers to send them their number so they can deal in person, which is always a good sign. 14. We've got an incredibly rare find for you, a 1951 Lincoln Lido two-door sedan that's up for grabs on Craigslist. This true survivor car is in good condition and ready for a new owner to enjoy its timeless style and vintage charm. First off, let's talk about the mileage. This Lido has just 54,159 original miles on the odometer, which is incredibly low for a car that's over 70 years old. This is a testament to how well maintained and cared for this car has been throughout its life. The seller describes the body as very nice, original, and straight with no rust, which is a huge plus for any classic car. The paint appears to be original and presents well from a distance, although there are some spider cracks on the hood and trunk lid surfaces. But let's be honest, a little patina only adds to the character of a vintage ride like this. One of the coolest features of this Lido is the excellent silver vinyl top, which was part of the original Lido package. It's in great shape and really makes this car stand out from the crowd. Under the hood, you'll find a rebuilt original 347 cubic inch flathead V8 engine, which the seller affectionately refers to as the Big Mama. This engine has been paired with a rebuilt OEM GM automatic transmission, ensuring that this Lido runs and drives smoothly. Inside, the interior is very clean and original, which is impressive for a car of this age. The seller even includes a binder with valuable documentation on the car, including photos of the engine and transmission after the rebuild and prior to being reinstalled. Now, the seller does mention a couple of minor issues. The transmission leaks a bit, but they note that it may reseal itself if driven regularly. The car has also been sitting inside for the last 15 years and has only been driven short distances a few times before being put back into storage. However, the seller states that it runs and drives very well overall. As for the price, the seller is asking $22,950 or best offer for this incredible piece of automotive history. While this may seem like a lot for a 70-year-old car, it's actually a pretty fair price considering the rarity, condition, and documentation of this Lido. 15. We've got a real treat for you, a 1966 Ford Mustang convertible that's up for grabs on Craigslist. This classic pony car is the stuff of legends, and it's sure to turn heads wherever you go. First off, let's talk about the condition. The seller describes it as good, which is a fair assessment based on the information provided. The car has a rebuilt C4 transmission, a new convertible top with rubbers installed just this month, and Wildwood brakes, which are all great upgrades. The 289 cubic inch V8 engine is said to run strong, which is exactly what you want to hear when you're buying a classic Mustang. The exterior of this Mustang is finished in a stunning red paint job that's sure to catch everyone's eye. There's just something about a red Mustang convertible that screams American muscle, and this car definitely delivers on that front. Now, the seller does mention that the price is negotiable and that they need the car gone ASAP, which could be an opportunity for a savvy buyer to score a great deal. They're asking $24,000, which is a fair price for a Mustang convertible in good condition with some nice upgrades. But here's where things get really interesting. The seller also has a brand new black convertible top, a carpet kit, and a pony interior that could come with the car if the buyer stays close to their asking price. These are all highly desirable options for any Mustang enthusiast, and they could really take this car to the next level. Of course, as with any classic car purchase, it's important to do your due diligence and inspect the car thoroughly before making a decision. The seller doesn't mention anything about rust or other potential issues, but it's always a good idea to get a professional inspection if possible. Overall, if you're in the market for a classic Mustang convertible with some great upgrades and the potential for even more, this 1966 model is definitely worth checking out. It may not be perfect, but it's a solid example of one of the most iconic cars ever built. And with summer just around the corner, Now is the perfect time to pick up a convertible and hit the open road. 16. We've got an absolute gem for you. A 1978 Chevrolet Corvette 25th Anniversary Pace Car Edition that's up for grabs on Craigslist. This is a rare opportunity to own a piece of Corvette history, and it's sure to turn heads wherever you go. First off, let's talk about what makes this Corvette so special. As a Pace Car Edition, it's one of just 6,202 units that were produced to commemorate the Corvette's 25th anniversary and its role as the official pace car of the 1978 Indianapolis 500. This particular example is a matching numbers Indy pace car, which means it's the real deal. Under the hood, you'll find an L82 engine, which is a 350 cubic inch V8 that was specific to the pace car edition. This engine is paired with a 350 automatic transmission, which makes for a smooth and effortless driving experience. One of the coolest features of this Corvette is the removable mirrored glass tops, which allow you to switch between a coupe and a convertible depending on your mood. The seller also mentions that the car has a new windshield, which is a nice touch. As for the condition, the seller describes the exterior and interior as being in great shape, which is impressive for a car that's over 40 years old. The odometer shows just 34,500 miles, which is relatively low for a vehicle of this age. Of course, as with any classic car, it's always a good idea to get a professional inspection to ensure there are no hidden issues. Now, let's talk about the price. The seller is asking $23,900 for this Pace Car Edition Corvette, which is definitely on the higher end of the spectrum. However, when you consider the rarity and historical significance of this particular model, as well as its apparent good condition and low mileage, it starts to look like a pretty fair deal. It's worth noting that the seller is only interested in serious inquiries and prefers phone calls over texting. This is a common request for high-end classic cars like this one, as it allows for a more personal and detailed conversation about the vehicle. Overall, if you're a die-hard Corvette fan or just appreciate rare and historic automobiles, this 1978 Pace Car Edition is definitely worth checking out. It's a stunning example of one of the most iconic American sports cars ever built, and it's sure to be the centerpiece of any collection. 17. We're looking at something really special. A 1966 Ford Mustang that's caught my eye in Las Vegas, and let me tell you, at $21,500, this could be a pretty sweet deal. This classic pony is rocking the original straight-six engine with just 68,000 miles on the clock. That's surprisingly low for a 57-year-old car. The seller's got it dressed in green, which honestly looks period perfect on these first-gen Mustangs. And what really catches my attention is that leather roof. It's a classy touch that really sets this car apart. Now, let's be real here. While it's not a V8, which some purists might want, this six-cylinder is actually known for being super reliable, and paired with that automatic transmission, it makes for a really comfortable classic cruiser. Plus, it's got working AC. That's huge for a car of this vintage, especially in Vegas. The seller claims there's no rust, which is a major win if true, and based on the description, this seems to be a well-maintained example. At $21,500, you're getting a turnkey classic that you can either enjoy as is or use as a base for upgrades down the road. What I really appreciate about this listing is the seller's straightforwardness. They're clear about their terms. No PayPal, no trades, and they've got a clean title in hand. That's always a good sign in the classic car market. For anyone looking to get into classic Mustang ownership without the headaches of a project car, this could be your ticket. Just remember, as with any classic car purchase, you'll want to see it in person and maybe get a pre-purchase inspection to verify everything checks out. 18. We're checking out something really unique, a 1983 Buick Riviera that's popped up for $18,900, and let me tell you, this one's pretty special. First off, let's address something interesting. While the listing says convertible, the '83 Riviera wasn't actually offered as a convertible from the factory, so this is likely a custom conversion, which makes it even more unique. It's rocking that front-wheel drive platform with a 307 V8 engine, a combination that was pretty revolutionary for its time. The seller has clearly invested serious money into this car. We're looking at new paint in red, a fresh convertible top, and new leather interior. But what really catches my attention is all the mechanical work that's been done. New front axles, fresh brakes, new shocks, new tires, and even a new power-top motor. With 92,000 miles on the clock, all these updates are exactly what you want to see. What's particularly impressive is that this Riviera comes with its original books, records since new, and even the build sheet. That's like finding gold in the classic car world. 3 sets of keys too, which is pretty rare for a car of this age. At $18,900, you're getting a lot of car here. And not just any car, but a unique piece of American luxury car history. These Rivieras were already special when they rolled off the assembly line, but this convertible conversion makes it a true one-of-a-kind ride. The ice-cold AC is a huge plus, and with all the recent mechanical work, it sounds like this Buick is ready to cruise right away. Just remember, with any custom conversion, you'll want to inspect the structural integrity and the top mechanism carefully. For someone looking for a distinctive luxury classic that'll turn heads at every car show, this Riviera could be an awesome choice. You definitely won't see another one like it at your local cruise night. 19. We're looking at something really interesting. A 1974 Plymouth Roadrunner project car listed at $15,000. And this one's got quite a story to tell. Let's be completely honest here. This is an unfinished project, and the biggest elephant in the room is that there's no engine. But before you click away, let me tell you why this might still be worth your attention. The seller has reportedly invested over $35,000 in this build, and looking at the list of modifications, I believe it. We're talking serious performance upgrades here. 3.89 gears with an Auburn locker, chrome moly axles, 4-wheel disc brakes, and a custom-built 727 torque flight transmission with a Stage 2 shift kit. That's some serious hardware. The body and paintwork are complete, which is usually the most expensive and time-consuming part of any restoration. The interior's been thoroughly modernized with odometer gauges, a billet steering column, and custom center console. They've even gone the extra mile with sound deadening, using spray-in liner and Dynamat. Now here's the thing. At $15,000 for a roller, you're basically buying someone else's partially completed dream. The good news is that most of the expensive groundwork has been done, and it's set up to accept a big block engine. The bad news, you'll need to source and install that engine, which is a significant additional investment. The odometer shows 100,000 miles, but that's rolled over, so actual mileage is unknown. Though with this level of modification, original mileage is pretty much irrelevant anyway. For the right buyer, someone who's looking for a pre-prepped platform for a big block build, this could be a solid starting point. Just remember to factor in the cost of an engine, installation, and final sorting when considering the price. 20. We're checking out a true piece of American luxury, a 1963 Cadillac Coupe de Ville listed at $23,500, and let me tell you, this is peak 60s elegance. Let's be real here, this Caddy is what I'd call an honest survivor. It's sporting its original 390 V8 engine, which the seller says runs well, and with 64,000 miles showing, it's got plenty of life left. These engines were built like tanks and are known for their reliability when properly maintained. The blue paint isn't original, it's an older respray, but that's pretty common for a 60-year-old car. What's really catching my eye are those new Coker radial wide white wall tires. If you know anything about classic cars, you know these aren't cheap, and they really nail that period-correct look while providing modern driving characteristics. The interior is original, which is both good and bad news. Original means authentic, but at 60 years old, you can expect some wear. The seller's straightforward about this being a solid cruiser rather than a show car. And honestly, that's exactly what these DeVilles do best. At $23,500, you're looking at a drivable piece of automotive history. These 63 DeVilles are famous for their clean, elegant styling. Just look at those iconic fins and that beautiful hard-top roofline. The fact that it's been actively driven all summer is a good sign. Nothing worse than a classic that's been sitting still. For someone looking for a classic Cadillac that they can actually drive and enjoy without worrying about perfect concourse condition, this could be a solid choice. These cars were built to cruise in style, and this one seems ready to do exactly that.